And this was his answer. Why would I want 10 Ferraris, 20 diamond watches and 2 jet planes? What would that do for the world? I starved, I worked in the fields, I played barefoot, and I didn't go to school. Now I can help people. I preferred to build schools and give poor people food and clothing. I have built schools and a stadium. We provide clothes, shoes and food for people in extreme poverty. I prefer that people receive a little of what has been given to me in life. A very balanced and clear view on what it means to be wealthy and what being wealthy truly can do. Sadio Main does not love money. He loves what it can do for others, how it can be used to change their situation, how it can be used to improve people's lot, as well as perhaps gaining some of the things himself. Jesus often talks about money in his parables, and his emphasis is that it must not control us. It should be something that can be used to achieve and do good with, not stored up for our own use or to show our own power. It's also about relying on and trusting in God. God gives us many gifts. He gives us talents, he gives us time, and he gives us money. And all should be used to the glory of God. It's not an either-or situation. If we give a great deal of time to help with activities and groups to further God's kingdom, this does not mean that we should then hang on to our financial wealth or to our money for ourselves. And if we give the church a great deal financially, that does not release us from the offering of our talents in the areas that we have them. The Old Testament talks about offering the first fruits of everything to God, not offering him what we have left over. That is quite a tough ask. God asks us to give him first in the recognition that everything that we have comes from God. He doesn't want the little bits and the scraps that we're prepared to throw him after we've chosen to do what we want to. Because part of it is about trusting in God to provide. Do we really trust God to provide us with all that we need? The passage from 1 Timothy in verse 6 reminds us there is a great gain in godliness combined with contentment. For we brought nothing into the world, so that we can take nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, then we need to be content with that. In the West, over the years, we've made great gains. And for most of us, our desire now is to leave our youngsters as comfortable as possible. And that's very understandable with things when they're quite difficult. But actually, we may have lost sight of the fact that the greatest legacy we can leave our children and friends is that of faith. Faith and trust in God, who loves and cares for us, who will never leave us. A God who, no matter what we face, will stand by us and give us strength to face each day. This sounds so wishy-washy, and yet those of us with a strong faith know how much it means to us, how it helps us and guides us, how it gives us the strength to face each day no matter what the problems are. We only have to look at the statistics to see that many people suffer now with mental health issues, and that was before COVID did its worst. Those statistics now have gone through the roof. This is a reality check on what is truly important in life. And it's not money, possessions, and celebrity. The number of youngsters I know who have said they have all these lovely clothes and all these lovely things and nowhere to go to wear or to show them. It's the core issues that matter. The core issues of health, family, and love. None of which money can buy. Today is Stewardship Sunday, and we're being asked to consider our giving, our financial giving to God and to the work of his kingdom. It's not an easy time to be talking about this. I don't know your situations, but be assured that God does. You may be running a business that's truly struggling with its finances due to this pandemic. Or you may be working somewhere and you know that redundancies are likely in the very near future. Perhaps you've been made redundant already. Perhaps you've been fortunate enough to found opportunities during these times and that your situation's much improved. There's been stories on the telly, haven't there, about people who've changed their manufacturing business to making PPE and hand sanitizer, and some of them have made millions. Or perhaps your situation or your business hasn't struggled as much as you expected. Where you find yourself and what's happening to you is between you and God. But we are asking you to think about it all and to pray about it all. To think about giving more to the work of God and to his mission at this time. It's not been an easy time for churches either. Not for any church. Finances, I can assure you, were already an issue. And now, many having lost revenue through buildings not being used, through not being able to rent them out. Also, no weddings and lack of family occasions mean that churches are struggling too. But we know that we can all trust in a God who loves us. He wants us to thrive and will watch over us and guide our path in the days ahead. I therefore ask you just to pray about it, as I will do myself, to consider our financial positions. You may have been given or come across the stewardship sheets which are at the back of the church if you haven't been given. And please take one home with you. To pray about this and to lay your situation in front of God. And to see what you feel you can give towards the work of God and his mission here in the Church of St Mary's, Chigwell. At this point, I think we should also remember the words of Paul in 1 Corinthians 8, where he says, God loves a cheerful giver. Because that reminds us that God knows our hearts, always. He knows what we're capable of. Just like Jesus could see right through that young ruler and knew that for all the good that he did do, the thing that he didn't want to part with the most was his money and his gifts. We cannot hide from God. We might be able to write things off in our own minds, give our own reasons and our own justifications, but God knows the truth of it all. To give to his ministry cheerfully and with a real openness and desire for his glory to be revealed is what truly counts.